Hello Pioneers, in the last episode of our MEGAFACTORY build series, we expanded with a sleek and modern wire and quickwire production facility, adding our first block layout and even a parking lot. This episode, we tackle another massive 50 refinery build, this time for steamed copper sheets. We experiment with new architectural shapes and bold colors to make our factory stand out. Will these creative changes elevate our MEGAFACTORY to the next level? Let's find out. A couple episodes ago now, we made this copper ingot factory or smelting block, but we haven't actually used it at all because we were going to use it to make wires, and then we realized the better recipe for wires is actually Caterium. So we ended up building these 50 refineries for Caterium. That all made a lot of sense, which is fantastic, but we need to start making our copper products. One of our copper products is copper sheets, and start actually utilizing this copper factory before we build other stuff. Because otherwise we're going to end up with buildings here and then we're going to have to drag the copper ingots really far away to build stuff. So I'm thinking over here we build ourselves a nice little refinery section like this and see if we can't build ourselves an interesting, well, it's going to be another 50 refineries exactly the same as this, but we can copy this entire design over for consistency, or we can just do something new and interesting. And I like the idea of new and interesting. So why do we need refineries for copper sheets? Because our standard copper sheet recipe made in a constructor converts copper ingots into sheets at a 2:1 ratio, whereas we can see here by adding some water in a refinery, we can convert copper ingots to copper sheets at a 1:1 ratio, which is a lot more efficient and water is free. We're right next to a giant water source. So we're going to do the refineries. So let's start setting that up. Let's just build ourselves a little block to tell us where the refinery is going to start. I like to have 2 gap tiles between my buildings. So this is where the wall of the refinery is going to start. We're going to need a lot of foundation over here. So let's start with that. Got our lovely blueprint mode and we will chuck down all of our foundation. Now we've set up the road over here. So we obviously want more road this way. We'll get some more foundation going this way and then we'll just chop some of these trees. Look how quickly I run out of concrete. Fortunately, our lovely concrete factory is right over here, so we can just grab some more. Our little city is coming along. It's looking nice as we add more buildings to it. It's all coming together. Now, our main question is this block big enough for 50 refineries? Let's have a look. There's a reason also I don't want to chop these trees down yet. I might use it as part of my building. It's going to be a bit of a challenge in terms of spacing, but we have a refinery blueprint, so why don't we use that and start marking out some of our refineries. Now we made the mistake last time of making it a little bit too close. Yep, nope, these trees are definitely not going to be part of my factory. Now for 60 refineries, 50 refineries I should say. Wait, let's just do the math quickly together so that we know what we're trying to go for. So we're going for this 1:1 recipe, but a refinery only produces 22.5 per minute. And we might as well just consume a full Mark 6 belt of copper ingot, which is 1200 per minute. So 1200 divided by 22.5 is 53 refineries. Our blueprint does about 48, and we can just overclock them accordingly to make this full amount. Let's just make sure the water will also be 1200, right? So that's fine. Now we're going to do the layout a little bit more interesting than our last layout. If you recall, our last layout was just 2 rows of these refineries. So our refinery blueprint looks like this. It's 8 refineries. So what we did was 1, 2, 3, and then another 1, 2, 3, which we can do that as well. But I was kind of wanting to go for something a little bit more interesting. So we're going to leave a 1 tile gap here and maybe like a 1 tile gap here, because last time our refineries had absolutely no space. And we're going to see how many fit across here. 1, 2, and 1 more here. So that does fit the 3 refineries, which is perfect. And what I was thinking for the other 3 refineries, or maybe not. So what I want to do, like my concept for this building, is an L-shaped building, right? So I'm going to go grab all the motors and stuff from my old factory to make sure I can plop down all these refineries that I want to put down. So we're trying to put down 6 sets of factory, and I was going to do sort of an L shape or a C shape like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if I do 4 here, like along here, and then do 1 on each side, we can get a cool like C-shaped building with a little bit of a void in the middle, just for some interesting architecture. But obviously this doesn't fit that many, does it? Let's just validate that. before we jump to conclusions. I mean, it fits, but then the wall doesn't really fit in anymore. And we could just tack on 2 more extra refineries in the back. But if we did something like that, what would happen is we would have to put refineries here. So we turn it like this. I suppose it doesn't matter where we do these refineries, does it? So if we did it like this, for example, and then we did one here. Ironically, I'm missing copper sheets, but you can see where I'm going with this. And then we just carve out maybe like 2 refineries somewhere, but then it's all going to be really awkward and weird, I think, if we did it this way. So we can do the same concept, but the other way. Let's try. So if we turn it here, so there's 1, 2, 3, and then we go 1, 2, 3, that's 6, and that's too many. Trying to think of interesting architecture for this, but it's quite difficult. I mean, the fact that this fits in like this perfectly kind of just makes me want to build a square. Oh, but squares are so boring. What can we do about this? That's fine. We got plenty of machines in the future to do interesting architecture with. This is just going to be a boring design. We'll just do something similar to this and build ourselves another refinery factory that just faces this way, I guess. So we need the first set of refineries to be like this, somewhere in the center. Now, obviously, not everything will tile perfectly into the center, so we'll just center it along something. It doesn't really matter which. So that's my center line here. Then this is my line. Oh, that's too close. That's the edge of my wall, so we need it to go in like 1 set, at least like that, to give some walking room. Now I'm going to pick up all my scrap. I apologize in advance for my lack of ability to create interesting refinery designs, but I'll try to do something interesting with the walls. So there's our first set of 24. Wait, so that's 12, 12, 24. Yeah, so 48 down this way. So we'll give it a little bit of room in the middle, maybe 2 tiles worth. We're not struggling for space this time around, and we'll align it to the center line, which is this line over here. And we'll do exactly the same thing, and everything should, in theory, line up. Alright, interesting wall time. Let's figure out how we can do this. Now, we do really like our original corner that we built, so let's see if we can get that corner in. I have absolutely no idea which one's my corner. It's this one. Split corner, it's called. I don't know. The naming conventions are terrible. This is basically like just a guideline for what this is going to be. Now, it's going to be out here like that. There's plenty of room in this refinery section, unlike the last one. Now, we kind of like this, but let's make some modifications to it to make it a little bit more interesting, rather than just copying and pasting our last refinery factory. We could just copy and paste our last refinery factory exactly, but what's the fun in that, right? Now, let's just play with some stuff. We'll just zoop some stuff out this way. I don't know. Let's just start from scratch. I feel like doing something fun and interesting. Let's just do something new. What if we started from a center point over here with some foundation, as usual? That's the edge of my wall. So like, let's just start from here and let's just tile it upwards, for example. See what that looks like. Just put a very like interesting frame in, I guess, and see where we go from there. If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. I kind of like this frame. The cool frame that we can work with. Now, how are we going to round this corner? I'm thinking, do we just want a square corner, or should we just do like a cool like glass corner or something like that? Because this one's not going to be very visible, so we don't have to do anything hyper complicated here. But I think we should go with a diagonal look, right? Let's figure out how we're going to do this thing over here. Let's try just doing regular foundations, 1 meter foundation to give it a little bit of a base. And then we can, it's 1, 2 tiles in. So 1, 2, like that creates a diagonal. Let's get the diagonal in first. We get diagonals in using our road barrier technique. Got to get on the right side of it. And there's our diagonal. Get rid of the road barriers. Oh wait, nope. I've already forgotten how to build diagonals. You got to start from both sides to get the join correct. And with our diagonal in, we can start building some stuff. Now, we've got to turn this around as well with it. So we need to get that somewhere and get a snapping point for it. There we go. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And there's our corner. Now with these snapping points, we can very easily go up. And then we can go across and get rid of this. Now we've continued that pattern across. Fantastic. We probably don't need these. We'll figure out some better pillar for this. And now we've got our continuation of everything. So let's just get this going up for now. And we'll seal off that corner properly. And there's our turn. That looks pretty good. Now I'm thinking this entire middle section should just be glass, right? And then we can fill in this bottom section with wall. What do we think of that? Let's give that a go. We'll do the same thing on this side. I think design inspiration is sort of the hardest part of this. Like once you figure out something that you want to do, then it sort of becomes a little bit easier. But I think this is a cool little concept for a factory. And then we can have an interesting roof. One of the things that we haven't done yet is an interesting roof. All our roofs are very flat, and this little architecture piece over here should give us a pretty interesting looking roof. In fact, it should cover up these middle smokestacks perfectly, but then it'll leave these ones out. So let's just fill this middle bit with glass and see how that looks. Now we can just do full frame windows, or we can do some sort of hex window. I think maybe because everything here is hex, maybe hex would look good. No blueprints for this one, because obviously this thing is way bigger than anything I could possibly blueprint. Now the windows here are going to be a little bit awkward, so we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to do that. So it'll be something like this, and then we're going to have to link this window in somehow. What you can do with this sort of stuff is just do something like this, and then where there's a little tiny gap, we can just hide it with painted beams. Good old painted beam friend. Like that. What do we think of this? That looks pretty cool. Once I put painted beams along the edge here, the whole window frame should look pretty sick. I like that. And now we've got to fill this part in with stuff. Now we can do the pattern that we normally do in between, like this sort of stuff. Or we can just do pillars. It's up to us, I guess. Let's figure out what we might want to do. So if we wanted to do underneath patterns, it would be something like this. We would use this. We would do slanties like this. Why isn't this perfectly joining here? What? Why does that clip into here? That makes no sense. Oh, right. Because, yeah. Because this is on the ground. So we'll do, oh, right. Because there's a 1 meter foundation underneath here. So I can't do anything with that. Let me figure this out. So yeah, it will clip into here. But that should be fine. So what we can do here is actually something better. Which is like, let's get rid of this bottom part for now. And then we'll just do what we want to do. And then we will put the bottom part back in. So like this. And then we can put the bottom back in. Like that. And that should look fine. Fantastic. Now we can do something similar on this side. What do we want to seal this off with is the question. It can just be more glass. Or it can be like a panel of billboards. I like the idea of a panel of billboards, so I'm going to set that up. The only thing I don't like about panels of billboards is they're hard to set up, that's all. I wish they had a zoop feature for this, but they don't. Nope, we don't want one here. We want one here. And here. And that should be perfect. Now I'm just going to put in the pattern and see if it's like a little bit too overwhelming. That's not too bad. I like that. What do we think of that, guys? I like it. I like it a lot. Very interesting design. Now over here, we can do something similar. It doesn't have to go directly down like this. We'll do the foundations last. But basically, we did it from the edge over here to create an interesting pattern. Because it's like a double angled tilt, right? I'm just making up words here. Ignore me. I'm not an architect. I'm a data engineer. So ignore me when I just make up silly words and terms. but hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to go for. Oh wow, the double ramp does not want to be here. What? It's an invert ramp, you silly muppet. Well, I'm just going to have to guess where it goes on the floor. Oh, this game does... It just does not like double ramps. But I think, like, essentially somewhere along here. And then we want to join it up this way. Nope, that's one tile too far, so we'll do it here. And that gives a cool little opening this way, right? But how do we seal this cool little opening? We could just use pillars for a different kind of wall, or we can just use walls. You know, we can always just use walls to seal this. That's one thing that we've never tried before. And also, this would make it super easy to build. Like, what if we just sealed this with solid wall? Because that's what we want, right? We just want something solid in here. Ah, but then this turn is not going to look nice, is it? Because that doesn't join up well with that. Okay, I see. Or maybe there's something we can do about that. We'll find out. No, that's horrific. This thing is kind of annoying. Maybe it hates walls. Can we hide this with some sort of pillar? No, is the answer. So we would have to build the walls from the center here, wherever that center line is. Oh, no. Walls too difficult to turn on the corner. How did I do the window then? This should follow the exact same concept, no? I guess the window doesn't turn at the right spot, but it's barely noticeable because it's only one strip. So we might have to do something different here. Save us small metal pillar. We'll start it from the corner area. Where would we put that? Let's just start from the center point here, which is like around here somewhere. Maybe we'll use large ones, just so I don't have to build as many. Then we can turn it. And maybe that all lines up nicely. Oh, it hates that. Why does it hate this? This no longer lines up, alright? I mean, it's okay. It's not horrible. What do we think of that? That looks alright. Can't line it up with this one. Damn it. How did I do this alignment? I have no idea. This one's aligned to the center of this tile. So I did my first one here. And I did my next one next to it. Is that what it looks like? This gap looks smaller than this gap. Okay, that's understandable just because this is probably not centered, right? In fact, these two don't even look like they're following the same pattern as everything. Oh man, what the heck's going on? So it goes up to like this, and then there's nothing to fill this in with. Billboards, save me. When in doubt, use billboards. Come on, give me this snapping point, please. You can do it on the other side. But then if I put billboards on the other side, how would I get that snapping point? There we go. Let me do it. Gotta get creative sometimes with this sort of stuff. That looks alright, doesn't it? I think that looks okay. I like it. What do you guys think of this? It's a cool little factory wall. Alright, let's continue building out this side of things, because this side doesn't need to be particularly interesting. So first I'm going to just zoop out all of this, because this is facing the interior. So let's just get it nice and flat. Then we should probably build out a corner like this on the other side. Now the only thing is everything's going to be very, very symmetrical if I just do this, which I suppose is fine. And we can do something interesting with the front, because I plan to put a road this way. So let's just do a copy of this on the other side and then build from there. I'm going to go quickly do that, and I will cut to when the other side is done. Alright, our other side is now done. I hope I've done it the same as I've done this side, so we can start figuring out what we want to do with the back wall. It's nice and empty at the moment. It kind of looks cool with the refineries like right in front of it. So we can probably just do some window tiling and stuff. Keep it simple, I guess. Why don't we just do some full windows? We'll just start it from here, I guess. Do double full windows, and then we can separate something with like a big concrete pillar or a small concrete pillar. Concrete pillar? Why do I have concrete pillars here? I don't want concrete pillars. I want small metal pillars here, mate. The problem with putting the small metal pillars on is I no longer have this snapping point. And I need this snapping point to build whatever I'm going to build here, which isn't going to be billboards. Maybe I can snap it to the bottom of this. Now, we'll get rid of the pillar first, and then we'll put in our windows first. That way it's easier to build. There we go. Now we'll put in our pillars to fill this in. And we'll just do it to the edge here. Is that going to cause Z fighting? No, it's fine. We're just missing a frame here, but we can fill that in with something manually, I guess. So basically, I'm filling this whole thing in with glass. Alright, there we go. The whole back panel is now filled with glass. Now we just need to put some pillars in between here. We'll do every second one. Let me actually start from this side, otherwise things might not join up nicely. So this one goes here, and then every second one goes to is glass. Actually, it works out perfectly again somehow. And at some point, we probably want to put a back door in, like right here. And then in that case, we probably want a pillar that goes across like this. Pillar cannot be nudged. So we'll do something like that, and hopefully that doesn't do any Z fighting. And now we've got ourselves a nice little entranceway. It does do a little bit of Z fighting, but it's not too noticeable, so I'm okay with that. Alright. Now, to make this a little bit more cleaner, we need our lovely painted beams again. So I'm going to go around the edge with painted beams. Painted beams basically is a quick fix for everything. Everything that doesn't have an edge needs a painted beam, basically. There we go. Immediately looks a lot better. That already has an edge, so I'm not going to do it. But we'll do the bottom and the top for everything. And just like that, our back wall is now in, and it looks pretty decent. We don't need to do anything fancy on the back wall because, like I said, it's sort of in between two factories. So it just needs a nice little profile that when you look in, it looks decent. Then we can focus more on the facade that's actually going to be shown, like the ones that are going to be against the roads and such. So this one mainly, and that one over there. So let's have a look at what we're going to do with the front. So what we're going to do over here will depend on how we join to the front over here. So let's just put in the concrete first. Why doesn't this link properly? Oh god, did I do something really horrible here? Is there like double foundations here? Yeah, there is, isn't there? Alright, well there's double foundations here, but it doesn't seem to cause any issues. So we'll just leave it, I guess. Alright, let's do the front. We've already got something super fancy here. Do we need something super fancy for the front? Or can it just go down like this? What do we think of the building that just looks like that? I kind of dig it. And the entranceway will be like here. So if we double this out, maybe not. I like the look of this. This gives it kind of an interesting shape, I guess. Let's just put some glass in and see how that looks. Now we want some billboards here to match, but I think if we just did big billboards in here, it won't look very nice. So let's just start with some billboards. And then we will break it up with some geometry. So that's the front side done. We'll do the back side. Now back side's in. Now we just gotta set the colors. I mean, it kind of looks cool even without any features. It's just a bit big for my liking. It's like too much. And I like to hide it a little bit. So let's see what interesting architecture we can do here. Now we can do... What if we did like some random corners and stuff? Does that do anything? No, it doesn't even like to snap to this. Let's just not overcomplicate it and just do ramps. Even ramps don't like to snap to this. I'm having the same issue as I did before, aren't I? What if we use a helper thing here? And then we can snap ramps in this way. Okay. Annoyingly, we have to get rid of the bottom part for everything to do this. So we want diagonals going. We're going to have to do something like this. Oh, this is going to be super annoying to build. Give me some time. So the technique is to build it out from where you are and then build the ramps in this way, and then maybe it gives you a snapping point, and then once it does, then you can build stuff. What if we just keep going? That looks okay. We'll do something similar on this side, I guess. Why do you hate me? I don't want a double ramp. Zoop it in like that. No, that's the wrong way. I want to go on this way. I don't want it to perfectly meet either. I just want to do something interesting, I guess. Oh, I hate that. Gonna need to do the helper method. See, that's not what I want. How do I join this? An invert ramp? Like that? Gotta get rid of this to see what the hell I just did. Okay. I can do that, but let's see what it looks like with an upside down ramp. Upside down ramp looks pretty cool. Gives it some weird and interesting shapes. Now I gotta get this bit back in. This is the weirdest shape ever. But is it a nice weird shape or is it an ugly weird shape? I can't put another ramp here. That doesn't make any sense. Or does it? That doesn't make any sense. Because these, I can't put different layers of ramps in. I just put in a half foundation over here to straighten this out, and I think that's as creative of a pattern as I can come up with anyway. Now we'll just get that in there. And I think that's it. That looks like a decently split up wall. Maybe this should just be a full foundation. How does that look? I think that looks decent. Alright, cool. So we've done one side of this. Let's see what we're going to do for this now. Oh, what is this sticking out the window? That's fine. We can figure out some way to cover that. That's not a problem. Now, out the front over here, we want to do something similar on the other side, but then we want to make some interesting angles over here. Let's see where this ends. So it ends right in front of this smokestack, which is fine. Because this smokestack is going to stick out, and I like the looks of that. We decided that we do like the look of smokestacks sticking out. Am I doing 4 meter foundations? I am. So let's just get that going across here first. And there's the frame of our building pretty much done. Then along here we can do some stuff. So we can get this going down here as well, like that. Then this can be opened up, and going here is a bit tight against these smokestacks, but I think that's fine. And we're going to do something similar on this side. So we're going to get that going down, and we're going to get this one going down. Fantastic. Get that going across over here. Kind of want to leave this tree here. I think it looks kind of fun. And this tree as well. Give it a bit of nature. But this thing is a little bit in the way. I don't know. We'll see what we do with the trees. I don't want to cut them down right now. Now we need to figure out what we're going to do with the entranceway. So we do something like this, and then we bring it in a little bit. We can make that the entranceway. Now, how do we link this and this though? Because that's like super steep. I guess we just go out one more. I think that's fine. Okay, that goes down there. And this will be the front of our factory. I think that looks pretty cool. Now, there's no way to do diagonal half bits over here, so we can't really do anything like that. So we'll have to figure out some other way to decorate the front, but let's just get this going across here so we know where the front of our factory actually is. You know, we'll get that going in here as well and link that up. I think that's a pretty cool front of the factory. Then there's 2 tiles, perfect for a road here. Yeah, I like this. Now, what are we going to do about this section? How do we seal that off nicely? I suppose we can just do glass roof things. So if we take a half foundation here, how do we do this last time? We need to create a snapping point like here. That's not right. We do something like that and create the snapping point here. Then using these 4 meter roofs, we should be able to place one somewhere. I don't want it against this exactly. I want it like one in. So I need a snapping point under here. Probably 2 meters under here. Like this. Then I should be able to get my 4 meter thing against this thing. Maybe. There we go. Now we can get rid of our helper foundations. And then we can get our glass roof bit in. That looks okay. And we can do something in front here. We'll figure that front part out at some point. Looks interesting enough, I think, with the smokestack sticking out. This is all sealed already. I'm okay with that. Now, what about this front entranceway here? I mean, we could just always leave it open, but it's not very consistent, is it? Now, what if we use some ramp walls here? 8-meter ramp walls. 4-meter ramp walls? And just some regular walls. Just to seal off this side a little bit. Now, we got to connect this over here somehow. So we can do the front with glass as well. We'll use our full frame windows. Something like this. Now we'll seal this side off the same way as we did before with these ramp walls, like this. Regular wall and another ramp wall. Fantastic. And that's the front of our factory sealed off. Now I don't mind these trees being here, I think. Now the challenge is going to be the roof, but before we get to the roof, let's deal with this section first. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side and try to mimic it. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. So first we've got to get the billboards in, and then we've got to do... Alright, so we're following this diagonal over. Okay, we'll figure out the rest. I'm going to try to mimic the same pattern that we did before. It's not as easily said as done, but something like this, right? Oh man, it's so hard to get any of this stuff in. But once I get that pattern in, I'll come back and talk about it. Now, this is most definitely not the same pattern as on the other side, but I don't actually mind it. It actually looks kind of cool. Anyway, that's pretty much okay for this. Let's figure out the rest of this. So I got to get the windows in here, just like that. And then we've got to figure out this part, which was just using 2-meter foundations or something to like get a snapping point somewhere. Then we just put on our glass roofs, I should say. Come on, give me the snapping point. Maybe one more under. There you go. Get that going all the way to the floor, and then we'll figure out something to put in front of there. That's looking pretty good. Now, if we put in our road, maybe it'll look even better. But before we do that, we will get the roofs going properly. Now, we've got to figure out what we want to do with this. It looks like the other concrete factory we built, but more interesting. So this doesn't clip, does it? Kind of clips a little bit. And it doesn't clip into anything. It kind of clips these top lights over here. I don't particularly like that, but there's no thinner version of this roof. That's the issue. Let's see what we can do about the roof. What if we started the roofs here? Well, let's work around these chimney stacks first. Obviously, we want these things in the middle. Definitely 2 sets of foundation in the middle. Now, what interesting pattern can we do to seal this in? What do we think of these inverted corner ramps? Then how do we connect any glass to this though? We can use these glass frame floors. Then followed by some of these. Doesn't quite work. I like the interesting shape they create, but it's a bit complicated. Yeah, I think that probably is just too much. Could just do something like this, nice and simple, and then we can just get that going across the whole thing with a couple of supports in between, right? Let's just fill this in with this first, and then we'll go from there. Just because this gives me a really good attachment point for the slanted roofs. Until I can think of something more interesting to do than this, then this will just have to do. I want something to like go across here to like break it up, but I don't know what can do that. To give some more geometry to this whole majiggy, because at the moment it's a little bit blocky, you know? From the front. From the side it looks cool, then from the front it just looks really blocky. Now obviously we can do these things over here, and then do something like this. And then we can use that to break up the blockiness of this gritty window. But because this is already inclined, there's nothing interesting I can really do with this, unfortunately. We lack the building tools to do anything particularly interesting. So I do like every third one, for example. We'll do it from both sides so it doesn't end up not symmetrical. Now, is there a way I can bring this framing out? Between the chimney stacks, but it's not going to be perfect every time, is it? Because that's just going to intercept through a chimney stack. I mean, we can do it, it just won't be like we have to pick the chimney stacks we come through with this, but it does look cool. Kind of, I do kind of like it. We just got to like pick which ones we can go through because it's only every couple and then it won't be symmetrical, but it does give an interesting feature to the building. So it's like this one. And we're going to get rid of this. And then we follow it up. Like that. And everywhere this happens, we just need to give it that support beam. Like such. And then I like the color of everything, but then what if we just color the support beam slightly differently? Should we try some like different finishes because we're doing the chrome everywhere? The Caterium finish is it golden or is it terrible? That kind of looks cool. Yeah, I kind of like this effect. And then if we were to continue this pattern all the way to the other side, we can maybe do something cool there as well. That'd be like this up to about there, and then we bring it out. But these chimney stacks are slightly different to these ones. How will we manage that? They don't line up perfectly to the other side. I guess this side can just be different, right? I mean, it will be different because the alignment is different from here to here. Okay, fine. The back of the factory is going to be different. All right, I'm happy with that. What we can do is this. This is called a roof feature. No, I'm just making stuff up. It's not called anything. I need a snapping point for this. Let's just do one section and see if it looks nice. So we'll do something like that. And then this roof feature bit can just come down here, I guess. We'll do one more out here. And then we'll give it a half foundation going down. Like that. And then if we were to paint it in the same Caterium gold finish, then it should create sort of... Oops. Didn't mean to paint the machines in. But it should give a little bit of like framing to the whole wall, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. No, what happened here? That one's not meant to be that. That's meant to be that. And then we can make this whole bar this darker finish. I think that gives it kind of an interesting geometry. It needs to stick out like a little bit more than everything else. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this. We'll have to keep building it and see. Alright, I'm going to keep building and painting, and then once it's finished, we can decide if it looks good or not. I figured out how to make it look a bit better. I added another 1 meter foundation on top to give it that little bit of extra geometry so that it looks like a frame that wraps around, and I think that just adds a lot to it. To elevate to this part, you just stack 2 4 meter foundations snapped to this 1 meter thing. It's actually 2 inclines, but it gives it that little bit of elevation to just make everything match. And I think that looks a lot better. I sealed off this part a little bit more. Now I think the roof just needs a little bit of trim. That's all it needs to make it all look a little bit better. Now to do the trim, we can either do pillars everywhere or we can just add trim. No, you can't add trim because there's no trim that goes diagonally. So we would have to use painted beam. So like for example, let's just do one side because it looks kind of bland without any sort of edge. It just looks a bit wrong, you know? Why doesn't this meet perfectly? Why isn't this long enough? We have to go all the way up as well. That should be fine. There we go. That gives it a bit of a border, which looks better, I think. Now we can go around the whole building like this, and I think we should. Just along the top, I guess. The inside doesn't need that, or maybe it does to hide this horrible monstrosity. Make these windows look a bit better. So hard to find the right snapping point for this stuff. Yeah, definitely probably needs trim pretty much everywhere. Oh god, it's gonna be so disgusting. I mean, it'll look good, but then it's so hard to build. But I think the roof looks good. Let's see what else we need to do to the roof. I think just this, where the pillars come out, needs a little bit of something. Now we can also do trim, like, against here. That would look okay. But can we do railings? So break it up a bit. Yeah, I think railings is fine. When you build at this scale, you forget how massive absolutely everything is. I'm gonna get rid of this little edge. Yeah, I think that looks great. I'm just deciding whether we should do Caterium gold finish around this edge as well. But then we'd have to do it on the other side too. Oof. But then there's going to be too much Caterium gold. I don't think we need it. We'll just do it like this. I think this is fine. This is a cool looking factory, isn't it? Let's add the road in front to get that look and feel. And I will do all the little cleanup bits myself off camera, because otherwise you guys will get too bored of watching this. So let me get the road in. That will be kind of challenging. So that's already the 2 bits of road. So I need to get rid of this foundation. And this will be our first block that we kind of seal off with a road this way. Now I know it wants to go there, so I'm gonna have to just manually place this like here. Now in blueprint mode, I should be able to place the rest. And it's gonna intersect a little bit crazily over here. I think there's like 10 layers of foundation here, so I'm just gonna delete a few. Nope, that was too many. Yeah, but then we gotta get the road to intersect here, so we need a road corner turn thing. But I don't have that at the moment, so we'll leave that for now. Let me just chop down some of the trees in the road. Oh, I'm out of biofuel. What? Out of all the things to run out of. Now, I've been doing this for hours and hours without checking any of my blueprints, but we've got a bunch of stuff. Cast screws. Hey, that sounds super useful. We don't need to turn rods into screws. We can just turn iron ingot directly into screws. That sounds amazing. I need an equipment workshop to make some biomass because I can't be bothered going all the way back home. Is it an equipment workshop or the other workshop? Nope, it's not equipment. It's just a regular crafting workshop. Oh god, we need to make biomass and then we gotta make the whole thing. Alright, we'll just make 100 biofuel. That should be enough for a near distant future. Alright, back to tree chopping. Once we clear these trees, everything should look a lot better. I don't mind this tree, but I kind of don't like this mushroom. I can't chop the mushroom? What? It won't let me chop the mushroom. I don't want to accidentally blow up this tree. I can use a obelisk, right? Let's just go over this side a bit. No, it blew up the tree, but it didn't blow up the mushroom. No, my tree. Alright, well, the mushroom will be the decoration then, since, well, one, it won't let me blow it up. Oh, there we go. I should have blown it up like that. Now I've lost my tree. Well, if I blow up the mushroom, it'll definitely blow up that tree. So there's not really too much I can do about it, right? Alright, I think that looks nice. Kind of. From the front. What do you guys think? It probably needs a little bit of color in the front. So I might put some like LED bands or something somewhere. We'll figure that out in a second. What about these chimney stacks? They need something. So we can do these. Lucky railings do go diagonal, so we can do diagonal railings. Looking better. I think I like it. I think I like the overall look of the factory. It looks decent from above. It looks good from the side. The interior looks good. We just got to do a doorway somewhere. Now, obviously, this is not going to be the entrance. This is the side of our factory, so the doorway is going to be in the front here somewhere. And the center is not going to be it, so it's just going to be a doorway somewhere random. Or should we do the doorway in the front over here? Such a hard challenge to do the doorway. It'll be like this. So we'd need like half foundations to seal it properly. Be like this. And that. And then like that would be our doorway. That doesn't look horrible. Especially once we put the thing in. We can always add a little bit of asymmetry by putting in an upside down ramp. What is this craziness? We can do the wackiest doorway ever by doing something like that. That's so funky. Why can't I do this? That'll give a bit of interesting geometry to the doorway. Like that. Too much tilt. Just to remove that boxiness look, right? To give a interesting tilt to the doorway. Do we like that? Not sure. It's like too weird looking. Yeah, I don't know. I think we just go with a standard doorway. Yeah, that looks fine, honestly. If you try to do too much, sometimes it just looks like it's just too much. But I think that looks nice. Alright, I'm going to add the trim to the rest of the bits, and then we're going to see how that looks. Now, we're pretty much done with all the trim, and our building looks pretty cool, if I say so myself. But I think there's one more little addition we can do. And that's just, I feel like that just the default coated concrete doesn't look that great. So I'm going to try something, and it could be a massive fail. Again, I saw this from a YouTube video, so I'm not going to take credit for it or anything. But you can make a color. And if you look at something like my white color, right? So say we were to try to paint this white. Notice how it's not really white. But if I were to make another white, say let's just do swash 18, whatever. Like, can I make a custom swash? This is just black. Why do I have a black custom swash? Yeah. So you can make a white swash, right? Like this. But this white is not very white. So if I made this white swash, you can see it doesn't do anything. But apparently what we can do to the swash is we can change this value to something really high, like 10. And we can save it. Now this white swash is actually white. Now we can paint our building white if we wanted to, like white coated concrete. Let's just paint one facade to see if it looks good. Or is it like too bright and terrible looking? It's going to be a lot of effort to paint, so that's why I saved my game beforehand. If it looks terrible, we'll just revert it. What do we think of an all white building? I think it looks really nice, honestly, the white paint. What if we made it less white? It's like too white at the moment. We can change it to 5. And that makes it slightly less white than before, I think. A completely white building with black trim. That looks insane. White and purple looks pretty good together as well. Oh man, is this a good idea? Alright, you know what? Let's just paint it. Worst case scenario, we'll just revert it all. I can't tell until the entire facade is white. What do we think of a white building amidst all this? I think it looks freaking crazy. Now, the reason I wanted to paint my building white is because I don't want every single factory in my entire city to just be this black facade. So I think having a little bit of white kind of breaks it up a little bit. And I'm not hating it. I was going to do black and gray, but just the default gray, just something about it just does not look very good. Well, that's it. That's the whole building in white. What do we think of that? Does that look like a cool building to you guys? Be honest in the comments. You just be like, no, this looks crazy and terrible. I don't mind it so much. It kind of fades into the background a little bit, but it looks kind of really modern and sleek. Missing some bits. Now, I know I haven't finished the trimming for this thing because I wanted the doorway better. So I kind of screwed this up. I'll fix that in a bit. But what do we think of the white? I think it looks great. It works well with the purple as well. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. It looks pretty cool. It looks like it's got a nice little frame around it. I like it. I think I'm going to stick with this. I think we're pretty much done. Otherwise, I can sit here for hours and hours tinkering with this forever, but we're never going to get anything done that way. I don't even mind this little tree in front of my building. It looks kind of like it's part of it. So we'll leave it at that, and we will start working on the functionality next. I think this is a pretty cool building. It looks like a little sciencey building. I wish I reserved this look for something cooler than a copper sheet factory. Because it's like, yeah, cool looking building. What does it do? It makes copper sheets. Yep, very boring. All right, cool. Is this thing sticking out of the ceiling? Is a little bit of a concern. It is sticking out of the ceiling a little bit. I mean, we can fix that pretty easily. We can just change the alignment of that. And then it's inside, I guess. Do we care that it's sticking out? Of course we care that it's sticking out. Alright, I'll change the alignment of this side of the glass. Fine, whatever. That's not a big issue. But otherwise, I think the factory looks nice. It's a very interesting looking building. I mean, it's definitely not a box. We're starting to deviate away from the world of boxes. And even the facade along here is not a box because we've indented this part in a little bit. So yeah, we're starting to open our mind to more creative things, which is good to see. And our factory is looking a lot better without that boxy look. Alright, we have fixed up all the little bits and pieces and our factory is looking great. I've just had to add a little bit of connectors over here because the white makes the seams between the beams a lot more visible. I fixed up the doorway and just tested a few different types of white and it all looks pretty good. So now it's time to get the thing working and we've got to go through the painstaking task again of adding all of the water. So we're going to add the pipe holes here again, the same way we did last time. So I'm going to find the alignment point and I believe we can just do it the closest possible. Yep, that works. So we're going to go across here and we're going to do all of them and we're going to do all of them along the middle and the back and add all the pipes in first and do the water. And there it is. All the piping is in now. Next, I'm just going to set the recipe just to confirm I only need 1 belt of water. So we're trying to make alternate steamed copper sheets. Each machine needs 22.5 and I have 48 machines. So yes, that is 2 belts of water, sorry, 600 per belt of water. I need 1200 all up, which is fine. Now, with these machines, I need to go underneath the subfloor again and start doing stuff. So I think we need to make another subfloor hole open area. And just wondering where we can do such a thing. I think there's more space on this side, so we can probably do one like here, maybe. Do it aligned to... somewhat aligned to this. And then we can go in here. Okay, that's cool. I'm just going to quickly set up a little hole here for a maintenance hatch. We'll put up our portrait sign and our little tag that says employees only for a little bit of flair, I guess. And maybe we should put in some floor things. We'll just put in a little factory icon and maybe make it asphalt so it's more visible. Put some railings in. There we go. That looks like it's a thing, isn't it? Good enough. Let's go in. Gotta add some subfloor. Apparently we need way more concrete. Oh. By the way, while I was doing stuff, I got all my alternate recipes because apparently with all of them listed, I had no more hard drives to scan. So that means I must be near the end of stuff. I'm going to grab this thing. So I'm just going to start grabbing my recipes. It means I must have most of my recipes done. So that's a good sign. Add some stairs here. Let's destroy this thing. See, this one I can chop. That other last one must have been bugged. Alright, here are my floor holes. So I need to get appropriate foundations everywhere. Alright, so we've got all of our floor holes here now, and we should definitely go ahead and link all of that up into 2 sets of pipes that can feed water into. So you've seen me do this a couple of episodes ago, so I'm just going to cut to when that's done pretty much. So we're going to go 1 pipe that goes like that, and then 1 pipe that goes like that, and then we'll probably have them join in the center here somewhere. And then we'll feed those pipes over this way, all the way over to the other side, I guess. Alright, I'll be back when that's done. And there it is, all our pipelines are in and they're joined. So we've got 1 running along here and then 1 running along here. We've got to do the next boring task of getting the water. So our water source is over here. So we've reserved 9 reservoirs on this side. So we just got to pull another 2 that we're going to run pipes out of. So let's go over here and let's go check out which 2 are free. I guess we'll just take the next 2 in the chain, which is these 2. I think I've connected them all, but I don't think they're actually being used. Yeah, I've connected them all into the ground, but that one's not being used, and neither is that one. All right, cool. So we're going to use these 2. Now we're going to go underneath here, and we're going to set up all the pipes and the water extractors necessary to get that water up. Alright, the new water extractors and pipes are now in and they're pumping away. So we're just going to go up the very top and verify that is all working properly by checking these 2 industrial fluid buffers. And we can see the net is indeed moving at 600, or like the fill rate is indeed moving at 600. and the fill rate over here is indeed at 600, and therefore these two pipes are ready to use. We're just going to go check underneath the floor to make sure that there is a free slot for them somewhere. Now, where can they come out? It's all getting a little bit crazy down here. We pretty much want them to go that way. So we might get two pipes going in. So at the moment, these two go like that. So I think this line is free. So maybe we'll bring them in this way. To do that, we just bring them out like this. Same on this side. Wait, this one can go onto the line. Why can't this one? Try to be as consistent as we can when we can. And then we want it to go into the floor. Do something like that in the center line. Now that they're going into the floor, we need to figure out if the line that we brought them in is indeed clear. I think it is. The heck did I just make? Get it aligned into this floor hole over here, which I believe is here. Just run around and have a look. Yep. There we go. And same with this one. That's looking correct to me. Alright, so these are our two new pipes. They're getting extremely confusing now with all the billions of pipes. I'm just wondering, is it better to maybe redirect some of this water and then change which pipe goes to where? Because we've got the two new pipes here and here, and this pipe goes all the way around from here. That's the back one. We might just redirect some of these pipes, because what's the point of doing extra piping when we don't really need it? So these two are feeding that one. This one of them needs to feed this one. And the best one to do that is probably this one. So I'm going to change this one over. I'm going to give it the best alignment that we can. It's on a center tile, so here. Can you actually stack these on top of each other? No, you can't. We're just going to have to do our best to align this directly close to the center point as possible. And then if we bring up this one with horizontal to vertical, should do a pretty clean pipeline into there. And then we can cut this pipeline, I think. That would work. We don't want to get rid of the support. But essentially, this pipeline no longer needs to feed that one. So we've freed up this one instead. Now that one is free. This one is now feeding that one. This one feeding this one seems to make the most sense. These two feeding this one makes the most sense. So we're using these two now, I think. I believe it's this one and this one now to feed that way, which makes a lot of sense. So let's get that across the ceiling. So we'll just go straight up this way. I kind of don't want to... just trying to figure out the best direction to take this, because they're over there. Maybe we just follow it along one of these pipes, because I don't kind of want to use the space underneath the station, because we know there's going to be a lot of future storage containers and such, so it makes sense not to do that. So I'm going to just stick a pipeline, say here. Let's just start it from here, for example. Pipelines are like the worst thing to deal with, I swear. We'll just start it from this tile, for example, and that should be straight. And we'll do one right next to it. They're honestly like the worst things to build. I hate them. Alright, so we've got our two target pipelines over here. We need to join them to this stuff over here. So it makes sense this one goes like to there. So I'm going to bring this one over. And we're going to have to line it up to here is our target turn. So we go back 2. And then in theory, we should just be able to do something like that. Similarly to this one, we need to bring it over. But we need to bring it 2 back so we can do a similar turn. And now we should be able to bring this over to our target, which is here. And then if we just bring it back 2, theoretically, we should just be able to do a join like that. And it will do a nice and clean turn. Fantastic. So these are our 2 new water pipelines. Let's just make sure there's water in there. Fantastic. Fantastic. There is plenty of water in there. All right. So now we can bring these pipelines all the way out to that pipe section over there. So I'm just going to go and do that. All right, we've made it across. It's quite a long pipe, but hopefully that won't glitch anything out. And we're here over at our main pipelines that we got to connect into. Now we've learnt from our previous mistakes that, well, not mistakes, but we've learnt from previous experience that we should get some sort of water tower going. So I'm just gonna mark out some, like, where I want my water towers to be. So we can do it, say, over, well, we want it against the wall, right? Because we need the wall to help with the building of this pipe. Otherwise, you can't build vertically upwards. So we probably want, say, maybe we'll connect it. Oh, this is so hard to do. All right, we'll connect it up out here. Let me just mark out. All right. It's hard to see what's going on from here. So, like, this is what I want, like a wall right here. Oh, what? Not like that. I want this to go into the floor. So, like, yeah, right? And I need a spot on the wall where it's free. So, probably around here somewhere. But this is the offset from the wall that I need. So, let's see if there's a thing that makes sense. Or we can do it against this thing. That also makes sense. That's probably a good idea. But do one here, and then we say we take it up, and then we bring it back down somewhere. Gonna do this. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. So there's our water tower. Keep it consistent, and do something like that. That looks alright, right? Doesn't it? Except it's way too far from the wall. What if we did it more even, like this, 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 and this? So it goes up the wall, up the wall. That's too close. What? One out? Is that the correct? No. Is it like half out? Oh man, I don't want to do half. So like half out. Is that a straight pipe? Even that is not exactly a straight pipe. What? Am I going crazy? I think it's just a pipe in the back that's like tripping me out. But that is a straight pipe, I think. So we did it evenly. Does that look nice? There's our water tower. If you didn't know what a water tower was, I explained it in my previous videos. But because our water is coming from under the floor and up, there is a little bit of elevation. And sometimes it struggles with pushing that water all the way up into these machines. But if you create the ability for the water to go up above the highest point where you want it, which is here, so this is higher than that. If you can get the water flowing through here at maximum speed, you can guarantee that the water will flow into all of these machines with no issues, with no extra pumps everywhere. So there's our water tower. I think that looks okay. I mean, it is kind of in the way of the stuff. I don't really like the fact that the things go through it, so I'm going to actually put it on the other side. We've got a little spot in the middle there to deal with, so it's easy enough to put in between. So we can do like one here, 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 and here. Now we can go up this wall, say to there, up the wall to the same spot. We can do like differing heights as well, just to give it a little bit of character, I guess. It doesn't matter how elevated you do this, you just need to make it above the water line. So this should be fine. I think that looks okay from outside. It's kind of hidden behind here. And now we can go into the subfloor and figure out where to pipe these in. Now, of these 4 holes, which one makes the most sense for this one to come through? Probably these two. We'll go outside then in, maybe. So these 2 water pipes is a bit annoying to deal with. So we can do one like this. Do this turn first. And this one can go from here, I think. So we'll turn this one out this way. And we'll turn it out this way. And we'll bring it over. And we'll bring this one over like this. Then we can bring it, well, let me turn this one over as well first. Like that. And then this one can connect to this first one. So we'll get it over here. 1, 2. And then in theory, this should be a perfectly straight turn. Nice. And we'll do something similar over here. So it's on this line. 1, 2. And then we'll just turn that in. There we go. There's our water towers. Now, to make the water towers function, this isn't quite right. So this is the line. 1. Just do 1. What am I doing? let's just get this out here. This is the line. Trying to get straight water pipes is like the biggest annoyance in the game. There we go. All right, cool. So to get the water tower, we've got to make sure that this water pumps at 600. And to do that, we just need to put in pumps here. And that way we don't have to worry about pumps anywhere else besides here and here. Cool. Now we just need to connect these two to these two bits. Where is the entrance of both water bits? It's like here and here. So we can do one. It doesn't matter which way the water goes. So we can just do one like this. Get this to the ceiling first. That looks a little bit janky, but whatever. No one's going to see these water pipes, so fine. And then this one can go into... So these two are together. We'll get the next one coming out from here somewhere. We'll get it to the ceiling first. Like that. Then we'll bring it out somewhere that makes sense. Do this one first. Bring it out, and then we'll just turn it this way. Oh, can't see which way it turns. Need that line to guide. Getting them closer and closer. I think I went too far. I went way too far. What am I doing? It's over here. So we'll bring that over. And we'll bring this over, and we'll get them to connect somewhere. Over here. And then back 1, 2. Get it in the right alignment. And boom, that's in. All right, now, to get the water towers to actually work, we need to hook up these 2 pipes. So the water is in. Now, the next thing we do is power. Power is, once again, very annoying to do because I don't know where is the closest power source yet. So maybe we'll use something in the back over here. We'll have to get it through this building, I guess. I'm sure there's some power source I can use here. I don't want to bring it through the wall anymore. So let's use this one over here. Change this to a wall outlet Mark II. Then we'll get one that goes across here. How far can I take it? Probably like here. And then with that, we can get that going out the wall. Once it's going out the wall, I can basically bring it to any elevation I want, right? Because it's just going to go through the subfloor. Where is this? It's the edge of the diagonal. It's like here. So I bring it to whatever height I want. Let's just say we'll go from the inside then. Where do I want power from here? So we've got our little power beam over here. So if I bring out the power from here, it's always difficult to do power in these setups just because of how I've set everything up. There's no like wall bit that I can just easily pull power into, like a corner or something. So I just have to get a little bit creative. Okay, we'll just take that out. That wouldn't look too horrible. So it's against this line. So it'll be like somewhere here. Super weird, but... And then from here, we would just bring it like, say, here. We'll go directly above it so we can see where the line is. I want a straight line that goes across here. Like I said, the power right now is still very, very temporary because we don't know what we're doing with power yet. But from here, we should be able to drill it through the wall and all the cables should be invisible to this point. And that should get power to our factory. I mean, it looks a little bit yuck being there. Oh, I don't like that at all. It's so obvious on the white bit. That's the problem. So maybe I should just decide here where I want it. So we did an outlet, say here. That's kind of hidden. And where's the line from here to here? That follows a line somewhere around here. I think I can get away with that. And then from here, we can just bring it in. And it kind of goes through the wall, but I'm okay with that. Now, we got power into this building. We've got to actually connect the power source from wherever I brought it in. Oh, I can't do that like this. So I need to go outside, connect the power. Surprisingly, out of all this, power becomes the most annoying thing to deal with. But now I can bring it in here and we want to connect it up there somewhere. So where's the cleanest way I can do that? Probably bring it over here. Now we're in the factory. Now we can bring it in over here, say. And instead of connecting it there, it shouldn't be too horrible if I connect it here. That should be okay. I can presumably do something similar on the other side. Now that these things have power, we should be able to set their recipes. So let me bring down the power beam to the floor. All of this should have power now, and then we're going to get power onto the other side, which is easier said than done. I think we will probably run it along the ceiling and follow this pattern over here. That way the cable doesn't just hang across somewhere. So we'll do that. And presumably we should be able to get it down somewhere around here. And that should just go into here. And that doesn't look too horrible. It's still a little bit ugly. I still think the best way to do this is to turn on no clipping and do all the power into the subfloor. But again, that's just a whole lot of effort. But now we'll just do this. Remember, we can always clean this up if it bothers us too much. If the overall factor in our factory is that the power is terrible, then we can definitely redo all of the power. And like I said, once I get nuclear power online, then I know where my power is coming from, and we can set up a proper power infrastructure for all our factories. But for now, this will do. Let's start configuring it. So we need copper sheets. Let's copy all of the recipes and put them through. Now, all of these yellow. None of these are yellow. Why? No power. Oh, right. Got to connect the power in between the machine sets that I did for my blueprints because they're not actually connected. So where is it? Like here and here. Now that should get power to all my machines. Let's see if they're all yellow. Yep, they all look yellow to me. So that means they've all got power. I've done this factory a little bit annoying. Well, not a little bit annoying, but I mean, this part where some of them are covered, the indicator whether the machines are working, that's going to be a little bit not too happy about that, but whatever, fine. Okay, that's another row of machines with the settings in. And we'll do the last one. Connect the power on this side as well, which is here. And then we keep going over here somewhere, and there should be one last power connection. And now all my machines should be yellow in theory. Fantastic. So we can now go ahead and connect the power from somewhere downstairs. Sorry if you can hear, that's just my dog next to me sneezing. You okay there, doggy? Maybe it doesn't like my factory design. Alright, we're going to bring the power down. Maybe just from... Oh, where's the best place to bring the power down? You just borrow one of these. And then we'll just bring it downstairs. That's the most hidden place to bring it into the floor. Where's the cable coming from? Oh, I can't see. These are my machines. So theoretically, the cable's like here somewhere, right? Presumably. This is where my machines start. So presumably, I just want the above cable to look like it's going directly downwards, or as close to directly downwards as possible. So it's just a vertical line. So with that in, we should be able to get power now to both of these. I don't really care about the cabling in the subfloor. That's like really irrelevant. As long as these two pumps are able to pump 600 per meter, cubic meters per minute, I should say, then we are very, very happy. So to ensure that your water works, all you have to do is now go over here and check these two pipes where the water's coming in, and just make sure that that flow rate is indeed 600 on both of these and that they're full of water. And when these two are full of water, you can be pretty assured that the rest of your machines should all have water in them. They'll take a while to fill up because of the manifold. So you can see like that has no water in it. That has no water in it. Why do none of these have water in it? They all have power. Do they not take water? They do take water. Am I going insane? Did I not connect any of this stuff? Did I not pump this correctly? No, they have water. Is it just taking its sweet time? Please just be taking your sweet time. Dealing with water is like the bane of my existence. Like normal constructors are just so simple, whereas these are just super complicated. There's some water coming in. There's a lot of water coming in. Now, yeah, it's just taking its sweet, sweet time to fill the pipe. Oh, scared me. I was like, why aren't any of these filling with water? So yeah, they will take a while to fill up with water, so we don't have to worry about it too much. Now, one of my viewers said, just let this happen for a while and let all the machines fill up with 50 water, and that way you'll definitely guarantee that you'll have enough water saturation. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We have plenty of other work to do while we're waiting because we haven't actually got the copper in. So by the time the copper comes in, hopefully every single one of these machines will be filled with 50 water. They're slowly saturating through the manifold. You can tell it's a manifold because if you go to every subsequent machine, every machine should have less water in it than the last. And it fills up in order. That's how you know it's working. Anyway, enough about water. Let's get the solid materials in now. So once again, following my philosophy of I love the belts, so I'm going to show the belts. Now this thing's going to process 1200 copper ingots and 1200 copper sheets will come out of it. So all of this can be just one gigantic belt system. So the only thing we need to decide is where is our material going to come in. So our copper is over here. So our material can just come straight in through here. Like we can just use one of these glass panels, I think. We could definitely just use like this glass panel, for instance, as our input, right? So if we were to replace this with a wall, a conveyor wall, then where would this be if I want a straight thing? It would be this one. So this is my target, and that should be a straight line, right? And I like the fact that it just goes through here. So basically I want all my output going into the subfloor in between these two levels. Now the way these machines work, if I remind myself, we're outputting 2400 copper ingots out of our copper smelting factory. Then there's 4 levels. So 2 of these levels combined make up one thing. So then that makes it really easy to get the output out. We just need to, the one thing I made a mistake with this manifold is pointing these the right direction, and there's no way for me to change that now without just deconstructing and rebuilding it. I might actually do that. Oh, it's so annoying. No, I'm not going to do that. We'll just live with our mistakes and bring them into the ceiling separately. So we need to bring it in here. Click. Up here. And click. That's fine. I don't mind the look of this. Like I said, I like my belts because they're decorative. Now we can get into the actual subfloor and merge all of these belts together. Yes, well. it's a hidden subfloor. We don't need our hidden subfloor to be that clean, right? So let's just get that going. But before I do this, I want to... I just realized if I do the same thing with the level above, I'm going to seal these in a bit later. But if I do the same thing with this level above, we're going to get these outputs in exactly the same spot, aren't we? Oh, damn. Because if I put floor holes here to get it down, it's just going to go straight into exactly that same spot. So we can just pull this out a little bit on the second floor, I guess. To here, for example. And bring it down there. We can always merge it on the level 2 and then just do 1, but that's actually probably a cleverer idea rather than doing it all in the side. You know what? I'm going to merge it in here. So we'll put a offset merger like over here somewhere, maybe like 1 here. Where's the tile? I don't want it to be like in the entranceway. So like here. So we'll merge it in the level. Look at me endeavoring to keep my subfloor reasonably clean. And then we'll just bring it into the subfloor. That's fine. That's the point of these levels. I mean, they're to deal with materials, right? So I'm okay with that. And then instead of getting this directly into the ceiling, what we're going to do is we're going to merge it on level first, and then we're going to get it into the ceiling, essentially. So the last one was here, so let's do this one on this side this time. So like say here, and put this one in the center this time. And that way it'll go up into the different part of the ceiling, and then they won't all intersect. That's a little bit too crazy. Bear with me, eventually I'll get it. Maybe here. It's probably the exact same part of the ceiling, but whatever. Get that going up here, right in the center. Sure, that's an easy floor hole to place. And we'll click that in, and we'll get that belt facing this way. It looks cool, I guess. Doesn't really matter. Get that beam going. Alright, let's go back into the subfloor, and now we should be able to get a slightly cleaner thing going. It automatically deleted my ugly things. Alright, this is in the center. This is in the center. Now, where is that floor hole that I mean the wall hole that I actually wanted to go out of? Go have a look. Let's drill that wall hole through by deleting this, and then we can see. Yeah, nice. We can see straight through it. Perfect. Let's go into our ceiling, and this is where we want to go to. So let's just run a belt somewhere here and just bring it, say, here. Now that's our target, so we need a merger somewhere. We can just, I guess, put a merger here. So one's coming through there, one's coming through there, and we want it to go out there. So we can do something like that. This one can come out like that. And then we can go into the side of this merger. And that can't move anymore, but this one can go this way. And then that can go into the front of the merger. And now we've got our full 1200 belt, and we should be able to just merge that in there, and out it goes. Thank God we put in a subfloor. Oh, I can't get out anymore. Let me out. What? I cannot leave this area anymore. Okay, my game is glitched. I can't physically get out of this subfloor anymore. What is happening? There we go. Let me out. Alright, let's seal that subfloor up again. And now we should have a copper belt going out this way. And we've got copper ingots coming in here for our copper refineries. Fantastic. Now, with that coming in here, we need to probably bring it out one more tile. Well, we don't need a floor hole. We can just bring it in like this. It doesn't really matter. And that's going to come down here somewhere. And then it's going to, I probably need to turn it this way to meet the refineries. So now we know where our copper's coming in. We can place our lifts. Whoa, what happened there? So I'm going to place all the lifts in, and when that's done, I'll come and talk about it. And with that, all of our belts, splitters, and lifts are in. So it's basically one giant manifold, which kind of sucks, but it's going to take a while for it to fill up and saturate. Let's see how our water's doing. We can go to the very end of our water bit. I think it's this one, to see if it's filled up. See how all the water is now fully saturated, which is fantastic. Now that the water is fully saturated, we can definitely go and hook up all of our belts. So our copper ingots are coming from here. Wait, I'm checking the wrong machine for water saturation. It should be this one. That's the last machine. And the water's coming in there. So in theory, this is the last machine. One of these two corner machines, it's the last machine. But there's 50 water in everything. So hopefully when the copper ingots start flowing, they'll just start making the steamed copper sheets. So we need to bring this down and go probably this way. And we'll get it into the same level and do something like that. And that will get the copper flowing. And that will start producing steamed copper sheets. Fantastic. Now 22.5 is a very awkward number. So currently we have 22.5 and we have 24 machines on each side. So we're producing 540. So we're missing 60, right? So we need to get an extra 60 out. 60 divided by 22.5 is 2.6 machines. So we need to get a couple of these machines boosted. So if we get another 2 machines, now the maths here gets a little bit confusing. So that's an extra machine. That's another extra machine. And then one of these, so there's 4 now that are boosted. And then we need another one of these machines to be boosted. That's 2.5. And then we need another one of these machines to be boosted like a little bit. So let me just figure out what it is. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machines at 150% now. So that's 33.75. Let me do this in a notepad. Our last machine just needs 1 and boosted at 26.25. So that one's boosted, that one's boosted, 26.25. That's all we need. That'll get you exactly 600 copper sheets out of one array and consume exactly 600 water. And then we need to do something very similar on the other array. So we'll do it on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machines. And then the 6th machine needs to be boosted at 26. Wait, what was it? 26.25. There we go. Now that should be perfect to get out exactly 2 full belts of copper sheets. And we can see it's all saturating and it's all going green. And now all of these machines will slowly start going green as well. It's going to take a while for everything to saturate, and while it's doing that, we'll figure out what we want to do with the outputs. So the output's already part of my blueprint, which is over here, and it's all going out that way. Fine. I don't mind it going out that way. We just need to merge the outputs and temporarily put it into a sink, I guess. So it'll be coming out like here somewhere. We can just wrap it around here, I guess, and then we'll put in a merger right dead center for now. Because we don't know what we need to do with the sheets, so we might as well just merge them and sync them for now. So there's our merger. So on top of the merger, we might put a splitter, a smart splitter. We'll get it going out like that. And then that can go into here. Nope. like that. And now we've got a smart splitter with all the copper sheets, well, one side of copper sheets. And if it's coming in here, we need it to overflow into another smart splitter at some point. So I guess temporarily we can just store the sheets smack bang in the middle over here. But they also need to go out into a priority. Well, this is kind of dumb because they're going to be used for something. So I need it to go out somewhere. Maybe we will just not do this weird setup. So once they've merged, we need it to go out somewhere for use. So we get a smart splitter in first. Then into this smart splitter, we need a priority, and we'll say the priority is out straight in the center here. And then we need it to go into a storage. But before it goes into a storage, it needs to go into a second smart splitter to deal with overflow. So like this. So if the left is now overflow and the middle is our main output, this overflow then needs to go into a box and then overflow into a sink. So we'll go something like this. That clips a little bit. No, it's fine. We'll live with a little bit of clipping. This isn't going to be permanent anyway. We're going to have to figure out better ways to do this either way. So that'll go into a box now. And then from the box, it's going to go into a storage thing, dimensional storage. So like here. So now our copper sheets are being stored into this box and then being uploaded to dimensional storage. Fantastic. And that's going to be the main priority. And then on the right, we're going to overflow any when that's full. So we're going to put that into a sink to ensure that it just continuously runs. Now our sink does not fit anywhere. So we're just going to have to put it onto like this side, for example. And then we're just going to have to push it through here like that. And that's fine. I mean, it covers the entrance a little bit, but I don't mind that. Like I said, we'll figure out a better solution to do this at some point. So now we just need power to this whole thing. So we should be able to just connect that to here. And that should get powered to the sink for now. Fantastic. And the sink isn't in the way of anything. So that's perfectly fine. Like eventually we might do this under the floor or something like that. I don't know where I'm going to put all these sinks. But basically every single building, if it can fit a sink inside, I'm going to fit a sink inside. But that's pretty much it. We've got all our copper going. And in theory, we should be getting a full belt of copper out eventually when everything saturates. Ah, right. We need to connect all of the belts in between our machines. That's probably why we're not getting barely any copper. There we go. Now the copper sheets will float, and in theory, this should be a full Mark 6 belt of copper sheets. And that is another material down. Let's have a look at our final factory. We need to do some stuff about the lighting in here. So again, we might do the same lighting system that we did before. So let me go set that up real quick. But then the lighting on this side is going to be a little bit weird. Maybe we'll just do one lighting down the middle then. We'll get our little light blueprint and we want it to face this way. And we'll just start it from all the way on the edge. And that looks pretty centered to me. So we'll just get that going across here. And like that, there, and one more there. Sweet. We just got to get rid of the excess. So let's go out here and probably delete that one. And that one is sort of directly in. We might get rid of one because that's kind of clipping into the stuff a little bit too much for my liking. But luckily our wire is right here, so we should be able to just connect that into here. And now we've got some lighting. Fantastic. Look at that. It's got a little reflection over here. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, cool. And we probably won't do any other lighting because I don't think I can fit. I can put lighting along here if I wanted to, but there's no analogous point on this side to put lighting, so I'm not going to bother with it. I guess I could put lighting underneath here if I really wanted to, but I don't really want to that badly. Otherwise, this building's looking fantastic. I think it looks great. I think one of the things that we've lacked doing is doing flooring, but I think concrete floor looks fine for these refinery areas. It's a little bit bright, but that's also fine. So I think we'll leave it at that. I'm actually pretty happy with that. It's actually a very unique look. We've distinguished ourselves from our old factories. In fact, our refineries are getting better and better if you think about it. Let's go back and have a look at our first refinery that we made. This was our first refinery that we made for the cement thing, where we learned how to do some like interesting shapes using ramps and doing the chimney stack thing, which sort of kind of looks cool. And then this is our second refinery, but it's still pretty flat and boxy. And then boom, compare that to our third refinery. We're getting better at building, and that's the important thing. And that's the whole purpose of this series, is to learn how to build interesting shapes and interesting designs and buildings. And I definitely think this refinery looks cool. It's a little bit of a shame that I'm using it to build something as boring as copper sheets, but hey, we're learning stuff and we're going to apply all these interesting design concepts to other buildings in the future. And hey, copper sheets are a very important part of our stuff, so I don't mind it too much. Now we don't have enough copper ingots going. I wonder why, because there's a missing belt over here. And yeah, there we go. Everything should be functional. I'll let this run for a bit off camera to make sure everything does indeed work before I start off the next episode. But hey, it definitely looks like it's working to me. Now we're going to also figure out all our trains and stuff as well, because at the moment our trains aren't optimally creating enough copper ingots to sustain all these at maximum Mark 6 throughput. But again, throughput is not an issue for us right now. Right now, we're all focused on design. One day we'll do a throughput pass and make sure all our trains are indeed supplying the correct amount of copper to keep these factories going. But hey, we're not going to be using 1200 copper, so we're kind of fine on that front. Let's get some signs going to denote before we forget how much stuff we're producing. So we'll do it here. And that's making copper sheet. And we're outputting 1200. Fantastic. Now we're going to update these notes as well to say copper sheet is using up 1200, available 1200. There we go. Now our labels are a little bit more organized, and we know how much copper ingots are available left. And that's pretty much it for our factory. I think we're pretty happy with all of that. I think it looks fantastic. I really like the look of this, honestly. It's a very interesting building design and completely functional, which is the most important part. Well, we've got plenty more to do. This is another item, so maybe next episode we can finally start working on one of our assembler buildings. But for now, we will leave it at that. Actually, no, before we leave, let's fix this road. Because we've got our road, so we might as well make it look good. So it's like a T intersection here, so we've got to get the right materials in. So we get asphalt, then we've got to get our road markings. We use the side dotted lines on both sides, like this. Fantastic. Now can we do some like crossings? Do a large crosswalk over here for people to get across. I think that looks nice. Now another thing we can do is a little stop sign, like this. And then we can get that to be like just the icon. And the icon can be monochrome, like a giveaway sign. And all of our stuff is purple, so we'll make it all purple. There we go. Nice little purple sign for the cars this side to give way this way. I don't know what I'm doing. Does that look nice? I think that looks alright. Got to get some traffic signs and traffic lights going, right? You know, you could do like a full traffic light if you just stack 3 signs on top of each other and then just make it like red, yellow, and green. That would be pretty cool, I guess. But no, we're not going to do that right now. I think a purple stop sign is enough. Maybe we won't make it purple. Make it red. There we go. It looks like a proper stop sign now. Purple looked a bit weird. Yeah, I like that. And we'll do the same thing over here because we haven't even built a road over here yet. So let me just delete this because that road is not going to like building with this. It does not like building here. There we go. Get that road in. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Maybe we'll do a small crosswalk here instead. Still learning how to do these roads nice. And then we can do our side dotted lines here. That looks slightly more interesting, I think. Then we can do our stop sign over here. There we go. Giveaway sign. I think that's a giveaway sign. I don't know. There must be better ways to do signs and stuff, but this is what I'm going to do for now. And that's looking fantastic. Our road makes sense. We've pretty much got our first block. This over here up to there is our block. We haven't sealed off the other side because we haven't figured out what we want to do with it. But our factory is definitely coming along. Definitely coming along. It's even got a little bit of foliage, so I like that as well. But I think we'll leave it here for this episode. Still plenty to do, so if you don't want to miss out on what we're up to next, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.